Hello everybody and welcome to my Metaphys Deck Profile update. So last time I uploaded this deck profile, I got a lot of feedback on what I should play, and I think now that this build is a lot better, and without further ado, I'm going to show you guys what I'm playing now in Metaphys. So 3 copies of Ragnarok. Ragnarok is still really strong to play. Normal summon, you get to banish the top 3 cards of your deck. It is also a tuner. And if you do battle damage, special summon a Metaphys from your deck. Still really strong card. Staple 3 of. Next, 3 copies of Metaphys Nephthys. So if Nephthys is banished, you get a search on your on the next standby phase, which is really important because you're able to draw, or not draw, search the cards you need for your next turn over and over again. 3 copies of Daedalus. Daedalus gets you a banish. The next standby phase it's banished. And then 2 copies of Tyrant Dragon because it gets to special summon Metaphys monster from your hand. Also, if Nephthys is special summon, you get to banish all set spells and traps on the field. Daedalus banishes all special summon monsters on the field. And Tyrant Dragon, if you special summon him, it's actually really good against stun or like trap based decks because it makes it immune to traps and can attack twice against monsters. But in general, really staple lineup. There's not much to change here. And then I cut Decoy Dragon down to 2 copies because I just found that against meta matchups, this card was really bad. But it's still, I think, really strong to play, especially since it makes them commit resources to killing this instead of other cards like Factor. But and then 1 copy of Executor. I don't think this card is superb. I was playing at 2 copies like before as well, but I just found that this card is so inconsistent. Even though if you're able to resolve it, it's really strong, but I don't know, it's just not really great to play, but it helps clean up your graveyard if your Metaphys monsters are stuck there. And then 2 copies of Necrophase. This card's so stupidly strong. If this card's banished, both players banish top 5 cards of their deck, and as you can tell, the deck is really banishing focused, so you're going to be able to hit a lot of your Metaphys monsters and get their effects. And at the same time, you're able to clean up your opponent's deck, banish the top 5, maybe get rid of their important resources. Against like Thunder Dragon though, you don't want to really do that, but in any case, 2 copies of Necrophase. So onto the spells. 3 copies of as a Metaphys. This card is still really strong. Banish a card, Metaphys card in your hand to draw another card, so helps you get your Metaphys monsters out of your hand and into your banish zone at the same time while drawing cards. And then the other effects aren't too relevant, but yeah, still 3 copies of As a Metaphys. 3 copies of Metaphys Factor. I bumped this up to 3. This card is also really good for unclogging your hand because you can basically get a free normal summon from your Metaphys, your bigger Metaphys monsters. And this card's also really strong because if you activate this and you have Metaphys monsters, your opponent can't activate effects in response. And if they can't activate effects in response, they can't negate you, and you're able to freely do whatever you want. It only really loses to cards like Infinite Impermanence because you can use Impermanence at any time and not just on Metaphys monster effect activations. But in any case, still 3 copies of Factor, bump this up. And then 3 copies of Gold Sark. Gold Sark, really strong starter. You can hit the trap Metaphys Ascension to get a free search, or you can hit cards like Necrophase, banish Necrophase, both players banish 5. So Gold Sark, really strong. Still want to play 3, of course. And then 2 copies of Crossbreed. Crossbreed, you get to banish 2 monsters in your hand with the same type and attribute with different names, and then you get to search for another one. In theory, this card is really good, and in testing as well, this card is really good, but a lot of the times this card can brick, so this is honestly a personal preference. I still play it because I like the card, but honestly, it's not super essential to the deck. 1 copy of Dimensional Fissure, straight up banishing anything that hits the grave, really strong. Monster Reborn. I know these 2 don't really synergize well, but a lot of the times they'll be able to kill your Ragnarok, and you won't have this on the field, so you want to be able to bring it back, or at least bring like a strong boss monster back from your opponent's grave. So Monster Reborn, Dimensional Fissure. And then the deck can get interrupted really easily, so you want to play 3 copies of Called by the Grave. And besides the fact that you can hit hand traps with Called by the Grave, this card is a really strong card in general because you're able to just stop a lot of graveyard effects with it and just hit a lot of graveyard-based decks. So yeah, 3 copies of Called by the Grave. And then this card, Metaphys Dimension, the more I playtest with this card, the more I start to like it. I was playing 1 copy before, realized that if I open it, I'm in a really good spot. Then I started playing 2, and then I realized that I was drawing both of them a lot, but it really didn't matter, and the games that I wasn't seeing this card, I was just losing a lot. So I just started playing 3 copies, and even if I drew multiples, it was fine, because if they popped one, you could just flip another, or like they aren't really dead, which is why these cards are so good. And also, if you banish them off of Ragnarok, he gains 300, which is also really great. But Dimension, really, really strong card. Would definitely recommend it. 2 copies of Ascension. I actually cut this down to 2, just because this card is so bad to open or draw in comparison to Dimension. Dimension, if you have it in hand, it's really strong, but it does nothing in your banished, opposite of Ascension. And the chance of having an opening hand versus banishing it is stronger, so... Or, yeah, it's stronger, so I didn't want to really open Ascension too much, so I just cut it down to 2. And it's only really good because you gotta search if it's banished, so you can just do that with Gold Sarcophagus anyways. So, just 2 copies of Ascension. And then 2 copies of Waterfall of Dragon Souls. This card is, again, a bit of a personal preference. I am playing going first Metaphys, so this card is stronger for that. But if you're going second, this card is really, really bad, and you're going to want to side it out because it's a trap. It's too slow, right? So, yeah, just 2. And then the 1 Macrocosmos to round off the main deck. Macrocosmos, same thing as Dimensional Fissure, just a bit stronger. So, Macrocosmos for that. And that's the main deck. On to the extra deck. 1 copy of Metaphys Horus. Strong card as always. So yeah, it's still a really good card to play. Has a lot of interaction where you get to steal an opponent's monster and then negate a face-up card. Really, really strong card. You can make it with Decoy and Ragnarok, so definitely want to play it. 1 Coral Dragon for removal, and then 1 White Aura Dolphin. Lets you basically resolve your attack of Ragnarok on anything, because it just halves their attack. The only issue is... Well, the reason I play this card actually is because I don't want to play Honest, and I still want to resolve Ragnarok, so if I can make this and have Ragnarok on the field, it's a guaranteed special summon. So that's why I play White Aura Dolphin. So those are the synchros. Onto the Xyz, 7 Sins, Pain Gainer, Sanafond, so you can make these 2 off of Sanafond, which you can make with 2 Tyrant Dragons or 2 Nepethys. And then 1 Dampier Vampire Sheridan. This card's really strong because you can use Horus to take an opponent's monster and then use those 2 to make him no matter what level the opponent's monster is because of Sheridan's effect. So, and then Sheridan gets to pop another card and then special summon another card. Sheridan's really strong. 1 Baguska. The rank 4 is a bit impractical, but if you have 2 Ragnaroks and you have nothing better to make, you can make Baguska or Exciton or Tsukiyomi for draw power. So those are for the Xyz. And then on to the links. Borreload to out big monsters. Trisbania to kill back row. Akashic to... this card, it's pretty fun because the effect to bounce an opponent's monster points to, if they're not really paying attention, you can punish your opponent's plays a lot. And yeah, Akashic for that. Pent Stag for piercing damage, so even if your opponent's monster is in defense position, you can still deal damage with Ragnarok. And then Underclock Taker to drop your opponent's attack, so you can, again, resolve Ragnarok. So that sums up the deck profile. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.